Hello, folks. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Edinburgh Napier launch of the Professional Graduate Diploma in Education for 2023-2024. And we're delighted to have you with us today. So just to do some introductions, first of all, my name is Jamie Thom, and I run the English PGDE. And beside me here I have...
Hi, my name is Lawrence. I'm a student on the English PGDE course. So I came in a bit of a career switch into this, but I'll talk about that later.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lawrence. Very professionally done. And then on the other side over there, we have, I'll let you introduce yourself, Colin Dillon.
How you doing? I'm Colin McGill. I'm the chemistry tutor in the PGDE programme here at Edinburgh Napier University, and I'm also the programme leader for all of the PGDE programmes in maths, English, chemistry, physics, biology. And with me, I've got, I'll let Dylan introduce themselves.
Yeah. I'm Dylan. I'm one of the chemistry students on the PGDE course. And I'm here to give you a wee bit more information about it and how I'm feeling.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. So the way we run the next 20-25 minutes or so, initially Colin's going to answer some questions from me about the course and why you might choose a career in teaching. And then Lawrence and Dylan have very kindly, I would say volunteers, but they've kindly volunteered to share their own experiences of being in the course. And then at the end, in the last 5 minutes or so, if anyone has any questions, please do feel free to share them on the chat and we will answer them for you at the end. So thank you. I hope you find it useful. Colin, I wonder if we can start by just thinking generally at the moment. Why would you suggest that somebody might choose a career in the wonderful profession of teaching?
Oh, you've just said it yourself. It's a wonderful profession. I was a teacher before I came in to be a PGDE tutor. I was a teacher for about 14 years, and it is an absolutely fantastic profession to work in. You know, if you want, before that I worked in industry and I was getting a bit bored with doing the same thing day in, day out. If you want a career where no 2 days are the same, then teaching is the perfect career for you. You know, it is, you will never get bored being a teacher. The days absolutely fly by. The lessons, you were talking about the length of a period in secondary schools, the time just flies by. You will not be bored being a teacher. It's a challenging career. It is very, very challenging, and it has a lot of challenges, but those challenges I think bring a lot of rewards. You know, I found teaching to be a very, very rewarding career, mainly because I could see the impact I was having. You know, in many jobs you can't actually really see the difference that you're making, whereas in teaching it's a job that you're seeing every single day, the difference that you're making to the young people, to the pupils that are in your classroom. You know, you're having an impact on them, just developing their knowledge and skills, but also just developing them as people, but also as developing them. I think there's a huge opportunity to develop yourself, I think, in the teaching profession as well. You'll find out a lot about yourself doing a PGDE. You'll find out a lot about yourself doing a career in teaching, and there are so many opportunities to develop. Either to develop your own classroom practice to become the best teacher you can possibly be, or to develop yourself and develop your leadership skills and move into that sort of position, or to develop in a more kind of pastoral approach and move into kind of the pastoral side of teaching. So yeah, if you have got a passion for your subject, it gives you the opportunity to share that passion. You know, I love chemistry, I love teaching chemistry, and I think that passion shone through in my teaching. It was a chance for me to show that passion and to try to instill that passion into others. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic profession. As I said, it's a challenging profession. It's not easy, but that brings with it a lot of rewards, I found.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Colin. And I hope what's resonated in Colin's answer there, folks, is that teaching is something that we here at Edinburgh Napier are really, really passionate about. You know, all the things Colin said there, we believe it's a profession that's transformative. It's one that's hugely varied. And as Colin mentioned there, it has such a profound impact on the young people who you have built brilliant relationships with every single day. So we're very, very biased, but we think it's a brilliant career to go in. So thanks for that, Colin. So we'll segue neatly and professionally into the course that we run here at Edinburgh Napier. And I wonder if listeners are thinking about potentially applying for Edinburgh Napier, what do you see as some of the real unique aspects of our programme, and what are some of the positives of it?
Yeah, well, I think in our programme, because we focus on the 5 subjects, we only cover maths, English, chemistry, physics, biology. Because of that, we have got a real focus on making you an expert teacher of your subject, and I think we show that where we give you, up to 8 hours a week will be spent with your subject tutor, developing your knowledge and skills and your craft at teaching your particular subject area. So for the 3 sciences, that'll be a lot of time in the laboratory discussing and learning how to use practical work to support learning, and we really have a big focus on that, being the best teacher you can possibly be of your subject, and using your subject as that vehicle for teaching the young people in your classroom. We are a relatively small team. There's 6 of us in the teacher education team, which I think is a huge advantage, I think, because I think we get to know our students pretty well, and we'll find out for Dylan and Lawrence later whether that's true or not. But I think, because we have that small team, our students know us pretty well. If one of us is given a particular lecture or seminar, it's quite easy for them to approach us because we have that relationship with our students. They can approach us quite easily if they have any concerns or need any more information. I think Napier, the university as a whole, I think they're, between us as a team and the university as a whole, we're really good at supporting our students pastorally as well as academically. There really is that support, and teaching can be stressful at times. It can be stressful, and we have that support ourselves as personal development tutors on the course, but there's also wider support available at Edinburgh Napier to support any students that may be having issues out with the university that could be impacting on their studies. So I think we have that. We have that there. And I think also we try to, we're always kind of reflecting in our course. Because we're a small team, we can make changes to our programme quite quickly and easily. And that allows us to be quite kind of dynamic, and a lot of, we find, from feedback from students that, often they want more support on things like behaviour management in the classroom. So it allows us to make changes very, very quickly and say, right, next trimester, let's put this extra support in to develop the students' kind of knowledge and skills round about managing behaviour in the classroom. So I think, and we do focus on that a lot, because it is quite a stress and an area of difficulty for teachers at all stages of their career. Obviously, I think they find difficulties in managing challenging behaviour sometimes. So we put a bit of a focus on that to try to make our students as prepared as possible. So yeah, I think we have, between that kind of subject specific focus and that real care, I think we have for our students, I think make us quite kind of unique at Edinburgh Napier and a well, I'm biased, but a fantastic option to go to if you think teaching is the career for you.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Colin. And I think I joined the team, this is the first year of running the English PGDE at Napier, which is really, really exciting. And one of I think, Colin, you've touched on all of the aspects there that I've really, really loved about being at Edinburgh Napier. The first, that we really get to know our students. So it was lovely. I was lecturing this morning and I can look across the lecture hall and I think I know pretty much everybody's name. And that's brilliant, just in creating a sense of a community of people who are really passionate about starting off their career in teaching. And the relationships you can form with that, I think, are really, really positive as well. But also that there's the practicalities of it, that we really do care students for the realities of the classroom in many different kind of brilliant parts of that and the challenging aspects of that. So a practical course for building students towards being ready for the classroom as well. And that's with the class level modules that we run as well, which are really, really exciting and interesting for students as well. So thank you for that. So, Colin, if we've got somebody listening to this or watching this live, and they're considering applying, what sort of practicalities, first of all, do they need to consider in making an application for teacher education?
Yeah, the application process, as it is for almost all university courses, just through UCAS, and so You can go onto the UCAS website and just search on there Edinburgh Napier PGDE, and that will bring up our 5 PGDE programmes. And you can just apply directly through UCAS or through the Edinburgh Napier website. I think I'm going to share the link in the chat right now. I don't know if that has been shared properly, but that is a link to straight into the Edinburgh Napier website that will give more information about our 5 subject areas, and a link there to the UCAS website of how people can apply to get on our programmes.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Colin. It's really, really helpful. And, I think one of the important things is we get such a wide range of applications and such brilliant people that come on for interviews and things. And I wonder if you might give some suggestions for people in terms of how can they, their personal statements, their interviews, what really impresses you when you're interviewing somebody in terms of trying to get a place on the course here at Napier?
Yeah, I mean, our interview process isn't really that surprising. I don't think that we're really kind of wondering, what are your motivations for becoming a teacher? Why do you want to enter the teaching profession? What's your motivations? What kind of relevant experience might you have? And that doesn't mean, previously we've had students who, or potential students who have maybe gone into schools and observed for a day, or a few days just to kind of shadow a teacher for a day. That hasn't always been possible during COVID. Schools obviously weren't welcoming in anyone who didn't need to be in the building. So just even if you don't have that sort of experience, any sort of experience you've had working with young people, which could be, football coaching with Dylan sitting next to me. So it could be football coaching or any other kind of work you have done with young people to show that kind of, you've to display you've had that experience of, building relationships with young people, forming a rapport with young people, communicating with young people. And having that sort of experience, for, going into the personal statement, what we're kind of looking for again is that kind of motivations and relevant experience, and you kind of just showing that desire to be a teacher and that desire to learn, because as I think it's Dylan William that talked about, who's a famous, someone who you'll learn a lot about if you do our PGDE programme. I think he was talking about how teaching is one of those professions, it's a bit of an outlier that you never actually perfect it. You either retire or die. So I think that was how he phrased it. So yeah, that kind of showing that desire to learn and continually develop, and to reflect on your own practice and your own attributes and develop throughout the PGDE programme and then throughout your career is what we'd be looking for, kind of thing. That kind of having that kind of come across in interviews and personal statements is what I like to read.
Brilliant. Thank you, Colin. Really, really helpful stuff. I'd certainly echo that. And I remember when I interviewed brilliant people like Lawrence beside me, that there was just this sense of almost like a kind of a belief that teaching was a career that was for Lawrence, and he was really passionate and driven about it and excited about the potentials of it. And it might be that you've not had as much practical experience working with young people, but if there's an intuitive sense where you think, I want to do something really, really positive, I want to have a real impact on young people's lives, then, we would absolutely love to hear from you. Definitely. Okay, enough rambling from us boring individuals. Sorry, Colin. But I wonder if we could pass over to our brilliant students now. And we'll maybe start with Lawrence, if that's okay, Dylan, because Lawrence is here. And I'll maybe give him a better view as well here. We only got half of Lawrence. So, Lawrence, would you mind? We're at an interview. Lawrence, would you mind sharing a bit of your experience on the programme, please?
Yeah. So, I originally I graduated from uni in 2015, and then I studied English language and linguistics. And the thing for me was everyone sort of told me when I found out I did an English degree, they're like, "Oh, you're going to be a teacher, right?" And I think subconsciously I then was like, "No, I'm not going to be a teacher." And I went away and I worked in London as an account manager for a print and mailing house. I was there for about 4 years, through COVID as well. During those 4 years, my partner actually learned to be a teacher and then taught for 2 years. And I think particularly during sort of when we were in lockdown, we were both working from home, I became quite envious because I wasn't necessarily finding my job as fulfilling. And then I was seeing her, and she was having this big impact on her students. She'd come home every day and talk about, oh, this kid came up to me and said this. And I was sort of like, oh, I'm not getting that out of my job. So that's when I made the decision to start looking at going into a PGDE or other means of going into teaching. And yeah, so I started going through the application process, and I had an interview, which Jamie kindly hosted. And I think that was one of the real points where I was like, yes, this is definitely what I want to do, because it was seeing someone who was so sort of enthusiastic and charismatic about what they did. And it's sort of like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I've been missing from my own job. And then the course has been amazing so far. Really, really enjoyed it. I've done our first placement, and that was a great experience. And as Colin said, that it's a relatively small department, but it doesn't feel like that. There's always someone that, if you have a concern or you need to talk to someone about something, there's always someone there. So in terms of coverage, it's massive. And you get treated like a human, which is nice, which sounds like, it sounds like something you would just assume. But I know other people who are also doing PGDEs and PGCs down in England, and when I talk to it, their experience is vastly different. I actually feel like I'm sort of being respected and almost treated, but it's like I feel like they want me to be here and they want me to be the best student. I'm not just sort of like a number in the system that they're churning out and getting out into the working world. So I feel like they're invested in my future, which is massive for me. I think going into teaching, you need that sort of positive sort of mentality around you and that support around you, because it's not an easy job. But yeah.
Fantastic. I'd just like to point out, Lawrence is not chained to the chair as well, ladies and gentlemen. That's entirely his own volition. Lawrence, that was really helpful. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Okay, Dylan, have you got any thoughts you'd like to offer on it?
Yeah, so like the way that I kind of got into teaching was kind of all throughout my high school time. Like I'd always been either coaching or I'd been tutoring kind of like younger pupils. I'd been doing I'd been helping in like STEM clubs and stuff. It took me a ridiculous amount of time to realise that I wanted to be a teacher though. So I'd been doing all this like coaching and the tutoring and all that. And then it was kind of, once I got to the end of my uni degree, I was like, oh, I've got to make a decision of like what I'm going to do next with my life. And like for the kind of, there's a few main ways that you'd go if you've done a chemistry degree. You've got like kind of industry, you've got like research, or you've got teaching of some kind. There's like obviously other paths, but those are the kind of three main ones that everybody around me was talking about. And I was like, oh, I've got to make a decision now. And then it kind of, looking back at like what I've been doing and what I've been getting up to, I was like, okay, I'm going to give teaching a go. I'll see how it goes applied. And thankfully I managed to get in, and I've been absolutely loving it so far. It's been brilliant. Like the team here, like Lawrence has touched on, and like kind of Colin and Jamie have both touched on, like it's a really small team, but you get to know them so well. Like if I have a problem and I don't want to talk to, like, say Colin about it, not that you wouldn't do anything, but like if I didn't want to speak to Colin, or if I didn't want to speak to Jamie about it, I know I could go to any other, like anybody else, or people within the course as well. If it was something that I didn't want to even talk about with like one of the tutors, I could talk to any of them, because we've all got to know each other really quite well. And it's like a very kind of close-knit kind of community. Like we're all supporting each other. Like I'm talking to like folk from like English and maths, and like who in other bigger courses I might never get the chance to actually speak to and get to know. And like specifically from the science side of it, like they do kind of BGE labs. So you're doing like a lab specifically of, here's something you might come across in kind of when you're teaching like first or second year. A lot of people have found this quite difficult. Let's do a lab to help you guys learn how to teach it. It's just been really useful having that kind of hands-on experience and like knowing, oh, I've already learned how to, like, ways that I can teach this or ways that I can approach this, and having that kind of to back yourself up has been really, really useful. And I've just found it like such a great course to be part of, to be honest. Like and I've learned a lot and like developed a lot, I think, over the past kind of few months, and we've still got a few months to go. So it's, you develop and you learn so much on this course. It's like, if you're thinking about going into teaching, like this is a great place to be.
Cool. Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
That's brilliant. Well, I think one of the reasons why, we've got Dylan and Lawrence with us today, partly because they're two of our students who are really thriving and really doing really brilliant stuff in classrooms, but also just to point out that our kind of dynamic at Napier here, we range from the elderly to Lawrence. we've got kind of students. We've got students from all spans of life, and I think one, like from coming straight out of university to who are in second careers, and that's part of what adds to, I think, what makes it a brilliant program, because they enrich that with their experiences and their experience of professional lives and work and education as well. So thank you so much, both of you, for sharing your experiences there. Really, really helpful. So I think we've got a couple of questions.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions in the chat. Yeah.
Go into. So Colin, I'll maybe pose them to you again, seeing as that's the
Go
routine.
for it. Why not? Why not? Yeah.
Is that all right?
That's absolutely fine.
The first question is from Samantha. Thank you for your question, Samantha. And Samantha would like to know, is the programme available online in a kind of distance learning format?
Unfortunately, at the moment, no, it's not. It's a face-to-face programme here at our Sighthill campus at Edinburgh Napier University, unfortunately. So no, it's not available for an online distance learning, unfortunately. Sorry about that, Samantha.
Brilliant. Thank you, Colin. And secondly, we have a question from Claudia, which is, what's the journey for subjects that might be outside the list that we have in Edinburgh Napier at the moment? Subjects that might be in the marketing business field to get into teaching. So is there another avenue they might go through?
Yeah, so if you're marketing / business, Claudia, you're probably looking at becoming maybe a business studies teacher, which is not. We don't offer the PGDE in that here at Edinburgh Napier, but there will be other universities in Scotland will offer business studies, and I would encourage you to go and look at that, and you'll see the entry requirements and everything for that in there. But it's not a subject we offer here at Edinburgh Napier, but other universities definitely do offer that.
Yeah, I think again you can find it on UCAS.
Yeah, probably on UCAS you would find it if you just search for, say, like PGDE business studies or something. It would probably come up with a list of the universities that offer that on UCAS.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for those questions, folks. Much appreciated. So as we start to kind of come towards the end of this, I guess just a couple of points to reiterate. Firstly, that we would love to hear from you. If you've watched this and you've got a couple more questions that you'd like to ask us, please feel free just to drop us an email or contact us. We're both on Twitter and things like that as well. You can access us through there. But yeah, we would love to hear from you. And we've got one more question popped in there, Colin. Sorry, just when you started to relax. So Maria is asking, is the PGDE self-funded?
It's funded by SAS. If you're eligible, that's the word I'm looking for, eligible for SAS funding, then it is SAS funded. And also, if you are applying for maths or chemistry or physics, you may also be eligible for a STEM bursary of £20,000 a year, as they are shortage subjects. But there are terms and conditions obviously around about that, and it's the government still haven't confirmed whether it will run again next year. We're just assuming that the STEM bursary will run again next year. So yeah, if you're eligible, it is funded by SAS, and in certain subjects there is a bursary available to support it as well.
Specialist up for English.
Yes. Brilliant. Colin, is there any closing thoughts or any closing anything you'd like to offer in closing?
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you're swithering about whether teaching's for you, if you know anyone who is a teacher or friends of a friend who are a teacher, talk to them, find out what it's like, get their views on it, the pros and cons. If you want to get in touch with myself or Jamie at any point, please do. My email address is c.mcgill3@napier.ac.uk, and you can find it on the Edinburgh. You can find me on the Edinburgh Napier website. Just drop me an email if you have any questions, or if you want to chat about whether teaching is the career for you. You can contact us via Twitter. We're at ENU Teacher Ed on Twitter, or myself, I'm Colin McGill on Twitter. You can contact me that way as well if it's just something you want to discuss further, just to find out if teaching is for you.
Fantastic. So I'll just offer my thanks for people for joining this. If you watched it live or if you're watching another point, really appreciate you showing an interest in our wonderful course. And just to pass on again, a huge thank you to Dylan and Lawrence for sharing, giving up a little bit of their time to talk to you. And thank you to Colin as well. And yeah, we'll hopefully hear from you soon. And take care. Thank you.